Your Excellency Ingrid Dalmadsen, non-resident ambassador of Denmark to Fiji, Ms. Karen Mapusua, Director of the Land Resources Division at the Pacific Community, Excellency, also Ambassador of the EU, it's very nice to have you here as well. Representatives from government ministries, development partners, technical agencies, farmers and community members. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Bula Vinaka, welcome to you all this morning. I would like to start off by sincerely acknowledging the government of Denmark and its people for your valued support, the Pacific community for your continued partnership with Fiji. Through its climate change and sustainability and land resources division, the Pacific community works closely with member countries to ensure that science directly supports those who depend on it most, particularly our farmers. I would like to also sincerely acknowledge the Ministry of Agriculture, Waterways and Sugar, particularly the Department of Land Resource Planning and Development, for their collaboration and continued support in advancing this important work. Today's announcement is about our farmers. Across Fiji, the farmers already experience the impacts of climate change in very practical ways, adjusting planting seasons, managing water more carefully, and responding to increasingly unpredictable conditions. As I have to declare my interest as an owner of a farm myself, and just getting into it for a few months, I can attest to the challenges that farmers face in this country. I'm not a rice farmer, but I want to acknowledge our rice farmers in particular. The challenges are becoming more severe. Rice production depends heavily on stable water conditions, yet farmers are now facing longer dry periods, followed by more intense rainfall and flooding. In some areas, saltwater intrusion is also affecting soil quality and crop productivity. These are the daily realities in the field. Over time, these pressures accumulate, reducing yields, increasing costs, affecting household incomes, and ultimately influencing the viability of farming livelihoods. So with my farm that I'm currently trying to work to get off the ground, we are working with technology that in a greenhouse. So obviously having conditions that you can control. But having said that, we just faced a couple of cyclones in the last 2 months that blew away the greenhouse, the nursery. So we still have to deal with that as well. And how do we are able to have a sustainable business model where even greenhouses and nurseries can be protected during cyclones and strong winds. National data reflects the scale of these impacts with climate-related disasters, particularly tropical cyclones, even with greenhouses, affecting over 150,000 people in recent years and causing significant livelihood losses. For farmers, this often means repeated cycles of rebuilding crops, restoring soils, and recovering income. So as we try to deal with the cyclones with this greenhouse, we rolled up the covering so that the cyclone could go through it and just take whatever it can. But that was not the case. It took the greenhouse as well and caused damage to it. So there's got to be perhaps the next level of securing it as we roll out any kind of even greenhouse farming around the country to deal with the increasingly more severe tropical cyclones coming through our region. Yesterday we launched the, I must get this right, Fiji Digital Climate Transparency Tool. Fiji is the first in the Pacific to launch this in partnership with UNEP and GGI. And that transparency tool will ensure that we are now capturing data from across all ministries that receive climate funding, that deal with climate issues. And with that tool, they've been working for months on this. We'll hopefully capture real data and what our people are facing, especially our farmers. And this is really important for Fiji. We're showing our commitment to transparency. And with that, as we gather that data more efficiently and we report back to those that look out for us as a country to help our people deal with the effects of climate change, we hope that we'll be able to account back how we are spending it and that it is certainly being effective for our people. So that is something that we have committed to, and hopefully that will give you more confidence, excellencies, in terms of reporting back as well. At the same time, Fiji contributes very little global emissions, yet we continue to face disproportionate climate impacts, and that is the same across the Pacific. Our national goal remains clear: to transition towards low emission and climate resilient development. So today's initiative is very important. In fact, I believe it is a milestone. This project will assess how climate change is affecting agriculture in Fiji, with a focus on key crops such as rice, which are critical for food security. Just on perhaps a more personal level, in terms of coming into the ministry, I questioned my staff about how much climate funding we were dealing with as a facilitating ministry. And I was quite amazed at the amount of climate funding that the ministry handles in terms of securing and facilitating, including writing proposals for other ministries to be able to take forward. And that is a lot of work and commitment. I wish to acknowledge our technical team, our team on the ground in the ministry, and we're always open to receiving support in that regard as well, to prepare those proposals and to ensure that the other people, the sectors that need it the most, receive it. The same ministry handles waterways, and so at the moment the ministry also deals with not just water sources for irrigation or farming, but also all waterways, which includes our coasts, coastal lines as well, mangroves, so anything to do with climate resilient solutions for our coastal and even rivers as well is handled by waterways. But we hope, and I've been lobbying, that perhaps our ministry should take that on, to separate them, so that agriculture and waterways can just focus on farming and focus on supporting our farmers, and that it would be targeted to that, rather than having to spread the finance to deal with climate resilience in our waterways generally in Fiji. So hopefully that'll gain some traction, and we as a ministry can be able to support that directly to our communities who need those solutions soonest. This project that I've mentioned will provide detailed sector-specific evidence on what farmers are experiencing, where impacts are most severe, and how these are changing over time. So one of the key challenges we face is not awareness, but the lack of consistent data to support planning and investment decisions. And yesterday's achievement was certainly a step in the right direction. This is particularly important in the context of loss and damage. For farmers, loss and damage is not only about extreme events such as cyclones, but also the slow onset changes such as declining yields, soil degradation, and shifting rainfall patterns. These impacts are harder to measure but deeply felt by our farmers. So strengthening how we assess them will support Fiji in better integrating loss and damage into national policy, planning, and investment decisions. I'm also pleased to highlight that this initiative represents Fiji's first ever approved project on loss and damage, supported by the government of Denmark. So I think we should just give a round of applause, please, for that great support to help Fiji to achieve this milestone for the first time ever. I understand we're still trying our best to dip into the loss and damage fund generally, which would mean that it would be coming directly to our ministry. But for now, I wish to acknowledge our implementing partners, SPC, for coming on board to ensure that the support from the government of Denmark reaches our farmers. So thank you very much, SPC, for that. This will also strengthen our ability to access climate finance, which increasingly depends on clear and credible evidence of both impacts and needs. Yes, climate finance. It's one of our Pacific priorities in COP31 and pre-COP as well, which Fiji is hosting. So we are very mindful of the need to continue to advocate for our countries in the Pacific. But what is happening today with the support of the government of Denmark through SPC, Fiji is very blessed. Our people are very blessed for your belief and trust that this will reach our farmers and will reach our people in the agriculture industry that needs to be supported. It is about supporting our farmers and across Fiji and the Pacific. You know, agriculture can be the backbone of our economies, and we need to move towards that. And so any policymaker or any person here working in that space, let's move towards making agriculture the backbone of our economies, certainly Fiji as well. It's a challenge for government to invest more in agriculture, but in the meantime, we are thankful for our partners like Denmark to come on board and to support us in this way. This initiative builds on the leadership by focusing on impacts where they are most directly felt within our agriculture systems. Through collaboration with the government of Denmark and the Pacific community, we are strengthening both our understanding of climate impacts and ability to respond effectively. To close, yes, climate change is already shaping our present, not even our future of farming, our present. Experiences of our farmers make this clear. So it is our responsibility, our collective responsibility, to ensure that these realities are reflected in our policies, our investments, and yes, our national response. It is a project in that direction. We're not turning evidence into action, and to ensure that our agriculture systems remain resilient, productive, and sustainable for generations to come. Once again, on behalf of the government of Fiji, thank you very much for this worthy investment, and we look forward to working with you and also the Pacific community to realize the support that you've given us. Thank you.